Well, I'm Brian McCarthy, and you're on scene with us today at the Trenton Farmers Market, where we're going to do something different. Dennis Malloy at 101.5 Radio, putting on a cooking exhibition here with Jack Ball and Company. Let's see what's going on.
Hey everybody! How are we? Thanks for coming out in this hot weather. Sure. Who's a fan of pesto? Everybody likes pesto? Who thinks it's stinky because it's green? We got a couple people in my family who won't eat it because it's green. Good. Good. It's more for me. Is this gonna make? Oh, that's good. All right. Got a little sound here. Perfect. All right. So who here has made pesto? All right. Very simple. You taste it in a restaurant. You think, oh my God, it's like from the God. It's from heaven. Great fresh taste. This time of year, you get plenty of fresh basil. Who grows basil in their yard? Very easy to grow. You just got to, pay attention to it. Give it some water. Pine nuts. You don't necessarily have to toast them. I think it's got a better flavor. It's got oil in it. It draws the oil out, and it just brings out that nutty flavor. You don't have to necessarily peel it. Chop it for this recipe because you're going to put it in the food processor. If you have a food processor, that works best. If you have a blender, it's going to turn it into baby food. It becomes a nice chopped consistency in a food processor because you have one blade that cuts it rather than mashing it up and turning it into mush. So we put the basil in. Pesto is not Southern Italian. It's one of the few Italian-American or Italian dishes we eat here in America that our grandparents didn't bring over with them. Pesto is from Liguria, which is Genoa. So this past fall I was lucky enough to go to Genoa on a cruise with the station, and we ended up just south of Genoa and this town called Santa Margherita di Liguria. Beautiful town, right on the sea. My friend and I couldn't wait to have pesto. This is where the region where it's from. It's awesome. We went, had a dish. I said, we'll have the pesto, whatever you put it on. They put it on green beans and pasta. It was horrible. You put the basil. We have some pecorino romano. Right here. You can buy it by the hunk. It's cheaper. You can have it grated. That works fine. Everybody should have somebody like John in their kitchen.
Yeah.
Where's the garlic, John? Oh, here it is. Anybody know this trick for peeling garlic? Just smash it. I was in Sicily a couple summers ago and I was helping a friend's mom peel garlic. And I said, well, why don't you just take the knife and go like that? And she said, I said, you're kidding, you never did that? She said, no. My mother used to make me peel it, and now I make my son peel it, and whoever else comes over for dinner, that's cheating. I said, well, it's cheating and it keeps your hands from being stinky and taking 2 hours to peel garlic. I like to take the nub out. It's a little bitter, and it doesn't dissolve no matter how you make it, whether you cook it or blend it up like this. We've got some olive oil, John. A little salt, a little pepper. I do everything by eye. A lot of people like, who needs to have a recipe written down? Oh, good. Well, you do, yeah. Guys and people, if you're baking, that's one thing. Baking's like a science. Cooking, if it doesn't taste so good this time, I'll try something different next time. 2 pinches of salt. Any more than that, if you're using Pecorino Romano. You can use Pecorino Romano. It's known to a lot of people by the brand name Locatelli, but it's actually a Pecorino Romano. It's a sheep's milk cheese, and Romano comes from Rome. There's Pecorino Siciliano, Pecorino Calabrese. It's just what region it comes from. Locatelli is a big brand. In Italy, it comes from Rome, and we call it Pecorino Romano. Most of the Pecorino we get here is from the Rome area. So you can use that. It's salty. You don't need too much salt. If you want to use Parmesan, you can use Parmesan too. Now this burner has one speed, hot or not. Preferably you want to cool these down before you put them in. It doesn't really matter. I reserve a little bit to put on top. And you just toast it dry in a pan. You don't need to put oil in it. It'll stick. It'll get all gummed up. Just put it dry in a pan for a few minutes. Put it on low. If you're doing other things in the kitchen, loading up the food processor, chopping the garlic, you can smell it. Don't have it on medium or high. It'll burn pretty quick. But just have it on low. You smell it. Turn around. Shake it. And you're good. We have a little bit of salt. I'm going to put a little cracked black pepper. Not too much. It tends to make it bitter. And loses that fresh, sweet taste. We put the olive oil in the garlic, the pecorino romano, the salt. I think we're good. We have the lid. I still get excited about that. I'm going to put a little bit more olive oil in here. I put about a little less than half the cup. It looks a little dry. And this food processor is doing it perfectly, just like I like it. It comes chopped. Like I said, you can try the blender, but it's free. And if you like that consistency, more like a sauce, it's going to come real mushy like baby.
We'll do it that way when you want it dip.
Yeah.
So that it's drippy.
And if you want to, like the gentleman just said, if you want to use it as a dip, which is a great idea too, you can put it in the blender and make it that gooey consistency, perfect for dips. This is going to be great. We're going to use it on today.
Oh, yes. We have cauliflower, carrots, celery. Awesome. Yep.
So what we're going to do today, thank you, sir. We have some Jersey fresh tomatoes. Oh my God! Who has had their first Jersey tomatoes this year? It brings a tear to my eye. It's like, summer's finally here. I had a couple from the farm market, a couple from the supermarket, but when you have the one out of your backyard, nothing like it. We're gonna. This is something I came up with on my own because I usually make more pesto than is necessary. Put it on pasta. I like it. Are we going to grill the chicken today? Yeah. Okay. We're going to put pesto on some grilled chicken. This is a very simple recipe, very easy. If you make chicken cutlets with the breadcrumbs, you can put it on that. Pesto. I like to put some pesto and bruschetta on top of that. And the bruschetta we're going to show you how to make very easy, very quick, very simple. If you want something lighter for the summer, grill a couple of chicken cutlets. The regular breasts are a little too thick. If you buy the cutlets in the supermarket already sliced in, perfect. I usually marinate them with a little bit of white wine, lemon, salt and pepper, or what I have is Mediterranean or Greek seasoning at home, and a little bit of olive oil. Throw them on the grill. Put the bruschetta, which we're going to do the pesto first, and then bruschetta, and they're awesome. First thing we're going to do though, while this is quick and easy, and we have the fresh Jersey tomatoes. I would say in the refrigerator, a good question was how long does the pesto last? In the fridge, a good week. You can freeze it. I've seen people do this, put it in ice cube trays and freeze it. And this way, you just pop a couple out and heat them in the microwave or in a saute pan, whichever way you're going to use it. In the freezer, 6 months. In the refrigerator, a good week. I would say would last you a week without a problem.
Ooh.
Are there any other questions? Thank you. No? Good. Question I'm usually answering when I'm making dinner every night is, how soon will it be ready?
Every night?
Every night. A couple of them moved out, so I'm down to one daughter. But yeah, still every night. Who cooks every night? Just about. Do you enjoy it? I do too. And if you don't, do you feel a little weird that you're not cooking? Almost like you're doing something wrong. Or there's something. Well, every now and then, especially in this kind of weather, it's nice to get a break. I find with these tomatoes, especially nice, these are great ripe tomatoes. Do you know where we got these from?
Farmers Market.
One of the Lewis farm. Great farms that sell here at the market. Both down in Hamilton, I think we have one from Hamilton, we have one from New Egypt also here. With these fresh tomatoes, a serrated knife is probably the best bet.
Wow. Serrated.
I have cooked for Judy. Judy is kosher, so she has some dietary rules that I certainly don't comply with on a daily basis. But when I cook for her, yeah, I have. Yeah, and
What's your favorite meal that you
I think this pasta, simple pasta with pesto. Yeah. So is that a plate, John? We can. Right out of the oven? So. Beautiful. So there are no questions.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
Do you salt the tomatoes before you put anything on them?
Do I salt them?
Do you salt them before you put anything on them?
No, it's a great question. Normally I do salt them with the fresh local tomatoes. I don't. Because the flavor is just so great. It speaks for, I let it speak for itself. And we're going to dress it with the pesto and some crumbled cheese. Do you know that, John?
Yep.
Beautiful. Oh, perfect. Thank you, John.
I'm going to make a book, Dennis, just so you know. You show today, a photo book.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I'll send it to my relatives in Italy who don't believe I can cook. Because when I go over there, they, you know, they're about 40 years behind socially there as far as men don't get up from the table, men don't clear the, I was trained differently. I was trained American where I, you know, I help out in the kitchen. My brothers don't cook, but aside from cooking, over there, the men sit at the table while the women do all the work.
I'm not going there.
Who's not going there?
I'm not going there.
And you gotta help the husband.
They don't mean anything harmful by it, it's just the way things are. I save a couple of toasted pine nuts. You can certainly taste the flavor in the pesto, but for a dish like this, I like to dress these like this. Have a little bit of feta cheese. You can also use gorgonzola, and it doesn't carry some of the evils that the other cheeses do. You can start by mixing some of
I don't know that lady.
You know what? That's pretty good, though.